is Ed Walsh. They got three wideouts to the near side with Bob Watson. Walsh, Leahy, and Watson. Lone setback is Lentz. 1st and 10 for the Eagles. St. Pierre, quick out pass to Walsh. It is complete. And he gets over the 35 to the 37-yard line. Angel Arroyo with the stop.
Well, right away they try to isolate Walsh on the right flat area. Quick pass to him on the line of scrimmage, looking for him to break something downfield. But Angel Arroyo was there to make the stop. And we'll tell you about this young man, St. Pierre. You talked about his postseason press clipping, so to speak, where he might go, where he could go. I'll tell you what, he's a big kid, Keith. 6'4", 200 pounds.
2nd and 5. Lentz right up the middle. Bounce over the 40 to the 41. It's going to be about a yard and a half short of a 1st down.
Lentz, a pretty interesting case, by the way. Brian Lentz, running back who just got the football, did an awful lot of talking in the Boston Globe about how they expect to win this ball game against New Bedford. So it'll be interesting to see Lentz back up his words. As we said, he's a tough one. He scored 21 touchdowns on the ground this year for this team.
3rd down, and we'll call it a yard and a half. They've got a full house backfield now. In the backfield, number 75, Wayne Lucier, is going to block. Lentz gets it, has a 1st down and more to the 48-yard line.
Whalers having to do some gang tackling there, led by number 5, John Silva, 6 foot, 155-pound junior for New Bedford. You know, when you look at both these teams, Keith, it's amazing how much they mirror one another. St. John's Prep, 15 seniors on this team. New Bedford, 16 seniors. Both teams have 22 juniors. Both teams have 20 sophomores. So the makeup of the team's pretty much even.
And both of their key runners have over 1,000 yards rushing and 21 touchdowns. So they're very, very close in terms of the numbers this year. Again, 3 wideouts to this side. Leahy, Walsh, and Watson. On 1st and 10 for the Eagles, the ball at their own 48-yard line. St. Pierre straight back to pass. He's got some time on the screen, overshoots Lentz, and it is nearly intercepted to the far side. On the pursuit for the New Bedford High Whalers is Kyle Paris.
Yeah, Kyle Paris had an opportunity that time to come up and to make the interception, diving for the football, coming up a little bit short. But here in the opening series of plays, they started on their own 32-yard line. St. John's Prep has gone a total right now of about 16 yards and 1 1st down.
We are playing 11-minute quarters here in this Division 1A Super Bowl. 9:03 to go here in the 1st period. No score, just underway from BU's Nickerson Field. 2nd and 10 for the Eagles. Letts on the draw. He gets a couple of yards and is finally hit hard at the New Bedford 48-yard line. 4-yard pickup.
And once again, the Whalers doing a good job of keying on Letts and making sure that he doesn't break something big in the early part of the game. Talking with Coach Hamlet yesterday, Keith, he was making the comment that, you know, he lets his coaches coach on game day, and they pretty much will call all the plays. He will get involved if he feels as though he wants to change something, but he was saying that he feels it's very important to stop them defensively on the first series of downs.
Whalers have a chance here. 3rd and 6 for the Eagles. St. Pierre rolls out to his right. He's got some protection. He's got some time going deep. He's got a man. He's got it. And he's going to be down to the 1-yard line goes Brian Leahy.
John Sylvia isolated on that play as the man back deep for the Whalers, and he was clearly beaten on the play. And that Leahy getting deep on the young man Silva from New Bedford High School. A big gainer and an opportunity knocking on the door right now for St. John's to do the unthinkable and score first.
46-yard pass play from St. Pierre to Ryan Leahy. And they have it 1st and goal, and again they're going to have their big back linemen rather in the backfield, Lucier and Zach Magliano. Lentz gets the call and he gets the touchdown.
Well, Brian Lentz taking it into the end zone, and St. John's gets on the scoreboard first, leading by a score of 6-0. They started this drive on their own 32-yard line with 11 minutes, of course, on the clock. They run off a total of 6 plays. 2 first downs, the big play, the 46-yard pass from St. Pierre to Leahy. Lentz takes it into the end zone, and St. John's scoring first. They lead 6-0.
Well, when these two teams played back on Halloween, St. John's Prep opened up a 22-0 lead. And the Whalers then settle down. And let's hope they can settle down here and come back when they get the ball. Looking to kick the extra point. It is up, and it is good. Kick by Jeff Macker. So we have 7:52 left here in this first quarter of play. And St. John's Prep leads 7-0.
Well, just the thing you really didn't want to see happen if you're a New Bedford High School follower. Here's the touchdown play as Lenz takes it into the end zone for the first score. And again, if you're Wayne Hamlet, you didn't want to go down by an early score of 7-0. Although this is exactly what happened the last time they played. It was 22 unanswered points before New Bedford finally did get on the scoreboard.
Yeah, when they played the first time, Lentz had a 35-yard interception return for a touchdown, then a 45-yard run for a touchdown, and then St. John's scored again in the first period on a touchdown by Andy St. Pierre, and they led 22-0. Then New Bedford came back to cut it to 22-14 and actually had the momentum, and then Lentz scored again in the fourth quarter to seal the victory for St. John's Prep. And now the Whalers will get the ball for the first time, and it'll be interesting to see how the Whalers respond offensively as Yusef White, Clinton Dunstan back deep.
Well, the Whalers with a quick strike offense, and as we know from following them all year long, Yusef White over 1,796 yards and 21 touchdowns, a big weapon, as is Clinton Dunstan at the fullback position.
Jeff Macker kicks it deep, and who's got it? White's got it at the 2. He's up to the 10 and gets only to about the 13 before he is stacked up by a host of St. John's Prep Eagles. So the Whalers are not going to have very good field position as they start things off 1st and 10 from their own 14-yard line. Setting up the Whalers on offense. John Seed is at quarterback, number 8. Yusef White, the senior, at tailback. Clinton Dunstan will be the fullback. The wide receivers, Dante Balistracci, number 12, and Jose George, number 18. Tim Walsh is the tight end. 1st and 10 Whalers. They have a 3-back setup now with Balistracci in a T formation in the backfield. Handoff goes to White. He cuts to this side. He's got some running room. 20, 30, still on his feet near side and goes out of bounds after a big pickup over to the 45-yard line.
Well, they start on the 14-yard line. They go to the 45, roughly speaking. You're talking about, check that, it's going to be about the 46-yard line. And that means that he picked up on that play 32 yards.
So good opening play there by the Whalers as they get the ball all the way up to the 47-yard line. They come right out 1st and 10. Again, they got the same setup. Balistracci in the backfield.
A new wrinkle has been added, and we'll talk about that in a moment.
Now Balistracci goes in motion to the far side, and there's a flag on the play as someone from the line must have moved after they set. Yeah, illegal procedure.
One of the things you don't want to have happen in a big game like this is to have penalties dictate what's going to happen with your offense. New Bedford, we saw with some penalty problem during the last game that they played, the Thanksgiving Day game, as well as the game before that against Brockton. You don't want to have those kind of things be the determining factor in who wins or loses a ball game.
Also don't want to have the wind to blow our banner in our face, which just happened.
I was just saying, well, I'm over here babbling. You're getting a banner.
1st and 15 for the Whalers. Balistracci goes in motion once again. Seed, quick pass to Walsh. He gets over midfield and still on his feet. And he's finally taken down after a nice pickup near the St. John's Prep 45-yard line.
Well, a quick look in past that time to the tight end Walsh as he lined up on the right side and just took about 3 or 4 steps, and John Seed hit him with the football. Balistracci in motion coming out of the backfield. Talking with Coach Wayne Hamlet yesterday, watching him diagram some plays for me on the board, and he said you want to run your regular offense if you can, but you want to put a few wrinkles in there, just something they might have to think about.
And so far the Whalers have been able to move the ball. 2nd down and 3. Ball at the 45. White gets the call. He cuts inside and gets maybe half a yard to the 45. And that's it. And there's a flag on the play as well as Magliano makes the tackle. And let's see as the referees sort this out. And it's going to be against St. John's Prep. So it's going to be a first down for the Whalers as the ball is marked to the 40-yard line. 5-yard face mask penalty is the call.
All right, and that one goes against the Eagles of St. John's Prep. The Whalers, as you say, Keith, not having too much of a problem in moving the football on the offensive end. A little bit more confidence on that side of the football.
First and 10 Whalers. Ball at the 40-yard line. They trail 6-0. Seed pitches to Dunston. He's got some blocking to the far side, but he's tracked from behind by Jeff Macker. Nice play by Macker, senior, 6 feet, 206 pounds.
Well, 265 pounds is Macker, and he is their big boy. He's the guy that, on the defensive side of the football, they expect an awful lot from Macker. As a matter of fact, he's one of the seniors that is leaving this team at the end of this year. And from talking with some of the people downstairs during the first game that cover St. John's, they say he is a big key to their defense.
So only a pickup of a yard on the play by Clinton Dunston. They're at the 39-yard line of St. John's. Balistracci split out to the near side. Left, far side right is Jose George. Seed looks to pass. He's got some time. He throws, and it is thrown behind Balistracci and incomplete.
Some pressure that time on John Seed by the interior defensive line of the St. John Prep team, and passed on a little behind the receiver. Again, Wayne Hamlet yesterday asked to describe John Seed. He said to me that he has just done everything we've asked him to do all season long. He's had a remarkable year, and I told him when the year began that if you are successful in playing the quarterback position this year, then we'll be successful. 17 touchdown passes. I guess you could say he's had a good year.
School record with the 17 touchdown passes during the regular season. 3rd and 9. Both wide outs to the near side. On the draw, Yusef White right up the middle. Flag on the play. He is close to a first down, but that flag in the backfield usually means holding, and it is holding against the Whalers.
Well, second penalty going against the Whalers, and again, when you're on the offensive drive and you're moving the football the way they are, the last thing you want to have happen is for penalties to stop any kind of momentum. 2 penalties now in this series.
So the St. John's Prep Eagles will take the penalty as it was close to a first down and move the Whalers back 10 more yards. And it's going to be 3rd down and long coming up for the New Bedford Whalers. Coming into this game, Yusef White, 128 carries, 1,352 yards. That's 10.6 yards per carry. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's had a great year. He really has. I mean, he's just been totally outstanding running the football. He's got that great breakaway speed. And if he gets it to the outside and turns the corner, we already saw one run earlier. He's just long gone and hard to find.
3rd down and about 21 for the Whalers. Ball is at their own 49-yard line. They need to get to the 30 of St. John's Prep. Seed on the screen. Dunston's got some running room. He cuts back inside, and it's close to a first down. Knocked out of bounds at about the 31. They're going to be about a yard short.
Well, you see Dunston that time keeping his feet as he spun away from the defensive pressure and tried to pick up that additional 3 or 4 yards that's needed. But I think you're right. I think he's going to be a little bit short.
Going to be exactly a yard short as the ball is marked at the 31. They need to get to the 30. Again, coming into this game, John Seed, 111 of 199, 55%. For 1,600 yards passing and 17 touchdowns. 4th down and yard, and the Whalers are going to go for it. Again, they've got that T formation in the backfield. Sort of looks like a wishbone now. Balistracci goes in motion. Oh, ball's loose. And they just fall on it, and St. John's Prep will hold.
Well, a fumble on the snap that time of the exchange between the center and quarterback John Seed, not a clean one. Seed did the right thing. Instead of trying to pick it up and see if he could make something happen from nothing, just fell on the football rather than turning it over on a fumble and maybe having it become a touchdown in the other direction. But the first big play of the game for New Bedford on the offensive side, a 4th and 1, and the fumble.
So the Prep gets it back. 1st and 10 from their own 36-yard line. They lead 7-0. Again, now the wideouts, Leahy, Watson, and Walsh are to the far side. Lentz is the lone setback. St. Pierre taking all the time he needs. Goes back to pass. He's got time across the middle, and it is in and out of the hands of Bob Watson.
Well, St. Pierre that time showing us a little bit of that arm that he has. It was only about a 10-yard pass pattern, but he drilled that ball right into Watson's hands. Watson just unable to hang on to it.
Second down and 10, and right away, St. John's Prep comes out in the hurry-up. Again, the three wideouts to the far side. Lentz, no, St. Pierre keeps it himself. He's going to run to the far side. He's going to be hit out of bounds after about a 5-yard pickup.
Good pursuit that time by Kyle Broughton, coming and forcing St. Pierre to move laterally to the left, where he was then picked up and knocked out of bounds by John Silva.
St. Pierre comes into this game 70% completion rate, Bernie. 70 of 100, 14 touchdown passes. And we talked about Lentz already, 21 touchdowns this year, 1,270 yards on the ground.
St. Pierre's got the size that all the Division I coaches just drool over in a quarterback. As we said, 6'4", 200 pounds, and a gun for an arm.
3rd and 5. This time Wayne Lucier's in the backfield, and he blocks for Lentz, and Lentz gets right up, and he's going to be close to a first down to the 46-yard line. And 46-yard line is pretty much right in front of us, and to me it looks like they're about half a yard short.
Well, the stop by Greg Ramos, number 77 for New Bedford, 6'4", 254-pound senior. He's had a good year for the Whalers also, 3rd on the team in tackles.
As they pull the chains out, and they are short by about 8 or 9 inches. I don't know if I'm that precise.
I was going to say.
Well, it's less than a foot.
Well, we're right on the 45-yard line
Pretty
where
much.
we're broadcasting from, so you can see right from here that they were a little bit short. The nose of the football just falling short of that first down, and now their first big play on this series.
Think it's any doubt who's going to get the ball here? More than likely it's going to be number 27 with the big blockers in front of him. This time Agliaro and Lucier are offset a little bit to the left side of the line. Lentz got the first down and more over the 50, still on his feet to the New Bedford 45-yard line.
Well, Lentz that time straight ahead run, and some great blocking on the offensive line that time by St. John's Prep, as they just blew New Bedford right off the football.
So 1st and 10 again for St. John's Prep. We have 4 minutes and 3 seconds left here in the first quarter of play, with the Eagles leading 7-0 and in New Bedford territory once again.
That's their 3rd first down of the afternoon.
Players come out again. They're going to have the full house backfield, tight formation for St. John's Prep. Play action right up the middle, and it's going to be tipped away. Pass intended for Ed Walsh, knocked away there by Kyle Paris.
Good defensive cohesion on that play. 3 defenders for New Bedford, Kyle Paris along with Dante Bellistracci, and I believe the other one was John Silva that was back there converging around the receiver.
So it's incomplete. 2nd down and 10, 3:38 to go.
And you notice the confidence that St. Pierre has, 3 men on the coverage that time, and he tried to just lay it right in there.
And then nearly did. Pitch goes back to Lentz. To the far side, he's got room, cuts it back inside, big gain again, inside the 25-yard line.
Well, that time, again, some great blocking by the St. John's Prep team, and that time by the 2 guys who are in the backfield along with Lentz, as they got out there in the flat and really leveled a couple of New Bedford High School defensive players that were up close on the line, giving them the opportunity to pick up 5 or 6 quick yards, which he turned into about a 12-yard gain.
And the Whalers are forced to call a timeout with the ball 1st and 10 on the 24-yard line. A well-rounded education is one that is not only academically oriented, but one that also includes physical, social, and emotional development. Interscholastic athletics provide the other half of education. The MIAA encourages you to support your local high school athletic teams throughout the year.
All right, we are in the first quarter of play here out at Nickerson Field on the campus of Boston University, overlooking the beautiful city of Boston. You can see the cars in the background going through the Mass Pike area. And right now, if you're a New Bedford fan, you're not too happy with the score. St. John's Prep scoring first and leading by a score of 7-0. They took the opening kickoff on their own 32-yard line and marched downfield. 6 plays, 68 yards, took 3 minutes and 8 seconds off the clock. And Lentz with a 1-yard touchdown run. The big play during that drive, though, was St. Pierre hitting Leahy for a 46-yard pass completion. It brought the ball down to the 1-yard line. And New Bedford, finding themselves trailing by 7-0, had the ball for 8 plays on their first series, and on a crucial 4th and 1, a fumble occurred in the exchange between the New Bedford High School center and the quarterback, John Seed, turning the ball over. Now here we have St. John's marching downfield again.
They have a 1st and 10 from the New Bedford 24-yard line. Again, they get the full house backfield. There are 2 linemen in the backfield. Hand up goes to Lentz, and boom, what a block. Far side inside the 15, 10, 5, and just out of bounds short of the end zone at the 3-yard line.
Well, Lentz could have gone into the end zone had he cut it back to the right side that time, but he went out of bounds, feeling a little bit of defensive pressure. Another great run, and as you said, a great block to spring him on the left side.
It is very difficult when you've got 5 or 6 big men on the line of scrimmage, and to have 2 more equally sized big men coming out of the backfield.
They're a big, tough team, no question about it.
1st and goal, St. John's Prep. Ball at the 2-yard line. Already leading 7-0. Lentz gets the call. He's tripped up short of the goal line at the 1. Making the stop is Josh Gomes, number 22.
Gomes getting in under the thrust, if you will, of the offensive line, and they are a big offensive line. I was circling some weights a little while ago, looking down at 260, 245, 328, yes, 328 pounds, 250, 234. These are big guys.
And they're only in high school. They were never that big when you were in high school.
They
right?
were never 328 pounds, I can tell you that.
On the line of scrimmage, St. John's Prep player moved. That was James DeTola, number 62, I believe. So it's going to be a false start and move St. John's Prep back 5 yards.
But you know, when you weigh 328 pounds and you're in high school, the key issue there is I really wouldn't want to be the parents who have to buy the milk, the potatoes, and all the necessary food to keep you up to your normal accustomed weight.
I'll tell you, I'm a single guy and living alone, and my food bill is not that much. I just can't imagine.
Having a son that weighs 328 pounds in high school?
My goodness. 2nd down and goal. The ball is back to the 6-yard line. Again, the full house backfield for St. John's Prep. Lentz is the tailback, as Magliaro and Lucier are back in the backfield. Pitch goes to Lentz. He's got blocking, turns the corner, and is knocked out of bounds short of the goal line again at about the 1.
Good job by New Bedford stopping him from getting into the end zone. And Joe Sturdivant, number 74, also Wayne Lucia, number 75, leading that particular charge along with Zach Maglinero. And we're talking 260, 250, and 328. Those are the 3 guys that are leading that charge, trying to get the ball into the end zone.
3rd and goal, ball at the 1-yard line. Again, double tight end set. Robichaux was one of the tight ends. Rob Robichaux at the far side. Macker is the other to the near side. St. Pierre calling signals. Lentz gets the call. He's got another touchdown.
Nothing fancy there. Straight ahead blocking. Just blow New Bedford off the line and get into the end zone. And Lentz has his 2nd touchdown of the day. He's carried the ball now on 5 consecutive carries for Brian Lentz, and he picks up his 2nd touchdown. We'll recap this for you in a second.
This is starting to look a little bit like deja vu from the first game as St. John's Prep goes up quick in the 1st quarter. Still 2 minutes and 3 seconds left. Macker will be in to attempt the extra point. Reed Goolsby will be doing the holding. So right away, the Whalers are in a hole early. Snap is down, kick is up, it is blocked. So 2:03 left to go here in the 1st quarter. St. John's Prep already leading 13-0.
Yeah, some quick football going on here by St. John's Prep. They scored in 2 minutes and 46 seconds after taking over the football. Started on their own 36-yard line, and they marched downfield 64 yards in 10 plays. As we said, taking 2 minutes and 46 seconds off the clock. Brian Lentz with his 2nd touchdown run of the day, a 1-yard touchdown run. Point after touchdown by Macor was blocked. So St. John's leads it by a score of 13-0. And the worst possible nightmare for the New Bedford coaching staff has happened. They went and played this team a few weeks back and were down 22-0 before they finally got their offense in gear. And Wayne Hamlet told me, he said, we shut this team down for 3 consecutive quarters, and we were able to score 14 points on them, outscore them 14-6 during those 3 quarters. So there was a lot of optimism coming into this game that they had figured out what to do against this team. But again, a quick 13-0 lead. It's deja vu all over again.
Thank you, Yogi Berra. Deja vu all over again. As the Whalers are going to get the ball again, and is it too early to start saying that they may need to score here?
Well, I think that you'd like to get a score on the board as quickly as you can. The Whalers did have the ball in one series where they kept the ball for 8 plays and were able to march downfield. But when they got inside the 30-yard line of St. John's Prep earlier, they went for a 4th and 1, and the exchange was a fumble, so they did not capitalize.
Macker's kick, another beautiful kick. White takes it, and it goes through his hands in the end zone and out of the back of the end zone. That'll be a touchback. And the Whalers will get it 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line.
All right, the Whalers have to put a sustained drive together now, and maybe we might even see one of those wrinkle plays that Coach Hamlet had talked about. One of the things when discussing the wrinkle play, I said to Hamlet yesterday, we were talking over at the clubhouse, you know, when do you decide to use something like this? He said, well, if everything's going well, you stick with your offense. He says, but if everything is not going well, you might pull out a wrinkle play just to give them something to think about. Everything is not going well right now.
Well, I mean, the Whalers were able to move the ball first time they had the ball. It's just that St. John's Prep has scored 2 times they've already had it. So 1:57 left here in the first quarter. Seed looks to pass. He's got time. Here comes the rush. He gets through and gets a yard or 2 to the 22-yard line after the coverage downfield was well defended by St. John's.
Dante Bellistracci going down the right side, and he was picked up immediately by St. John's Brian Leahy. Leahy, 5'8", is giving away an awful lot to the 6'2" Bellistracci, but he had him covered like a blanket.
These two teams are no strangers to Super Bowls. The Whalers have been to 4 Super Bowls before today, 2-2 record. St. John's Prep been to 3 Super Bowls where they have a record of 1-2. 2nd down and 9. Seed on the draw to Yusef White. He gets up the middle and is hit right up the middle by big number 77, Zach Magliaro, and he gets only a couple of yards to the 23-yard line.
Yeah, Magliaro, as we said earlier, 260 pounds, and he hits Yusef White, who weighs 160 pounds, so he's giving away 100 pounds in that exchange.
It's like me getting a head start and running into this wall.
And the wall's going to win, Keith.
The wall's going to win.
Absolutely.
Just about every time. So pickup of a couple on the play. It's going to be 3rd down and 6 for the Whalers. Ball at the 24-yard line. Clock is running. 40 seconds left to go here in the first quarter of play. Seed rolls to his left, looks to pass. He does. He's got Bellistracci. He's got a 1st down. Knocked out of bounds at the 39-yard line.
Nice little pass play that time by John Seed, hitting Dante Bellistracci with about a 15-yard pickup. Another 1st down for the Whalers, their 3rd of the contest, and that time the Whalers running the wide receivers on both sides, same side of the field. One about 5 yards shorter than the other, and they went to Bellistracci, who was the deep man on the play.
So the Whalers get another 1st down, 1st and 10. Ball at their own 39-yard line. 30 seconds left to go here in the first quarter of play. St. John's Prep leading 13-0. Yusef White gets the call. He gets nowhere. Magliaro, Rob Robichaux, Jeff Macker all in on the stop.
Well, you know the reputation that Yusef White has up here in the Boston area. They've talked about him all this past week, about the 21 touchdowns, about the 1,360 yards. So you know that St. John's Prep is going to key on him the entire game. And the man that could be the key here, besides John Seed and Dante Bellistracci through the air, might be Clinton Dunston.
Yep.
Dunston on any other team in the local area would be the key tailback, the guy that would be running the football more often than not. On this team, he plays that fullback role, and he's able to do some great blocking for Yusef, but he also is a threat himself.
That is the end of the first quarter here from BU's Nickerson Field, the Division 1A Super Bowl, with St. John's Prep leading 13-0. 160,000 students will take part this year in more than 80,000 high school sport competitions among the MIAA's 350 member schools. The Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association encourages you to support your local high school athletic programs and the students who take part in them.
All right, St. John's leading by a score of 13-0 as the first quarter comes to an end. And, well, you got to try to look at this in a positive way. So let's put a positive spin on this thing if we can and say that New Bedford has cut down 9 points from the last time they played in the first quarter.
There you go. And if they score 14 like they did the first time these two teams played and continue to hold St. John's Prep scoreless, then it's a 14-13 win.
There you go. There's the positive spin.
Let's see if they can pull it off.
Well, now in reality here, though, as we were saying before the quarter came to an end, the key to this whole thing might be Clinton Dunston. and how much he's able to do for the Whalers, because they certainly will be keying on Yusuf White all afternoon.
2nd and 9 for the Whalers. Jose George split out to the far side. Now Balistracci goes that way. Flag on the play. Pitch goes to Yusuf White. He's got some running room to the far side, but I think the Whalers are going to be called for some kind of illegal motion. Yep, illegal motion against the Whalers as 2 men were moving at the same time before the snap.
Well, you can do that in Canada, I think.
And it's kind of cold up here today.
You can't do it
can't
here,
do it in
you
America.
You can do it in Canada.
Yeah, you can have almost everybody except the line going at the before the snap of the ball. So the Whalers will be knocked back 5 yards to the 34-yard line, and it'll be 2nd down and 14 coming up.
That's going to be the 4th penalty against the Whalers here in the first half. And again, can't keep saying it enough. The one thing you don't want to do is penalize yourself so much in a big game like this that you take yourself right out of it.
They have the 4 wideouts now, do the Whalers, on 2nd down and 14. Seed goes back to pass, looking deep in the direction of Yusuf White, and it is over his head, incomplete.
Yusuf got a little tied up that time with Ryan Leahy, who was covering him at the cornerback position, but the Whalers trying to do some things differently, strike quick, go for the big plays, open it up. That's been a trademark that Wayne Hamlet has had since taking over as the coach. They've had 4 Super Bowl appearances in 6 years, and when I asked him if he was to try to define some sort of a style, the style that he believes that he has as a reputation is wide open football, willing to open it up and do some things out there that aren't considered to be too conservative.
We were talking about this on the way up, Bernie, that the Whalers probably would need to play a near-perfect game as they did against Brockton, and so far they haven't been able to do that. There've been some rough spots, a couple of penalties have hurt them. 3rd down and 14, Seed in the shotgun. He's got time across the middle, and Balistracci cannot catch up with it, incomplete.
Well, Dante Balistracci that time not able to catch up to the football, but if you watch that play very closely, you'll see that Dante also was very lucky that he didn't get called for offensive pass interference as he pushed with his left arm. He just pushed the defender for St. John's right to the ground.
So the Whalers are 0 for 2 on offense and are being forced to punt the ball away as Carl Beckman is in the game and Brian Lentz is back. And the kick is off, and it's a high kick. It is relatively short, and it takes a beautiful New Bedford bounce inside the 20 to the 16-yard line. Goes to the 15-yard line. 15-yard line, so good kick by Carl Beckman, hitting St. John's Prep back. And now, Bernie, it's going to be incumbent on the Whaler defense to come up with a stop here.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, you just can't let them score in every series of downs. And so far, they're 2 for 2, St. John's Prep we're talking about. They've had the ball on 2 possessions, and they've scored twice. Defense has got to dig in here.
Whalers trail 13-0, 10:26 to go here in the first half of play. You're watching the Division 1A Super Bowl. Whalers in the Super Bowl for the 4th time in the last 5 years. 1st and 10, the Prep. Ball at their own 15-yard line. Players switch off. Macker, the tight end, is lined up to the left side. Now the 3 wideouts, Walsh, Leahy, and Watson to the far side. Lentz is the lone step back. Lentz gets the call. Oh no, St. Pierre still has it. He's sacked. In the backfield, Matty Oliveira making the stop.
Good ball handling that time by St. Pierre as he had everyone faked out on that play. 3 wide receivers on the right-hand side, and it looked like he had handed the ball off to Lentz. I think we were all fooled up here in the booth, and some good trickery with the hands there.
Unfortunately, the Whaler defense not fooled as the Oliveira was able to come in for a 4-yard loss. Ball is back to the 11-yard line. 2nd and 14 coming up for St. John's Prep. The Catholic Conference champions lead 13-0. This time a different look as Lucier is on a wing to the far side. Pitch goes back to Lentz. Lentz turns a corner. He's got some running room. Still on his feet. Great 2nd and 3rd effort. He really has some great balance as he gets over the 20 to the 23-yard line.
Well, Lentz kept his feet. Clinton Dunstan that time hit him first in the backfield, and it looked like he was going to go down, but as you said, great balance, kept his feet moving, and was able to pick up about 4 or 5 yards.
Nice crowd on hand here for both teams. The far side stands, which are a lot smaller than the home side stands, pretty much filled with St. John's Prep supporters, and a lot of New Bedford fans up here as well. From the South Coast.
I should correct myself and say pick up an additional 4 or 5 yards is what I meant to say, because he picked up 11 yards in that play.
Third down, and Lentz gets the call. He's going to be short of a first down. Tackled at the 24. He's going to be about a yard, maybe half a yard short. And let's see what St. John's Prep does here.
Well, fourth down, they've got the 13 to nothing lead, and I think the conservative way and the right way to do this is just punt the football away.
Yeah, I don't think you give the Whalers any opportunity here to get some good field position, as St. Pierre is back deep, and he will kick away. Angel Arroyo will be the deep man for the Whalers.
And remember, the punt to St. Pierre is also the quarterback.
Nice snap. Nice high kick. Gets it away. And it takes a New Bedford bounce. And Magliaro was able to deflect the ball down at the St. John's Prep 45-yard line. So good break there by the Whalers as it took a big bounce backwards. And the Whalers are going to get decent field position.
Yeah, but they did the job there, Keith. We talked about looking for a silver lining here in the first half, and we made the statement that you can't continue to let these guys score in every possession. That time, the Whaler defense did a good job of 3 downs and out with the punt.
So the Whalers looking for their first points of the game. They've got Balistracci split out to the far side, George to the near side in the I formation, type of formation we've seen throughout the year. Walsh is the tight end. He's at the far side. Seed on the delay to Youssef White up the middle, and he gets maybe 2 yards to the 47-yard line. Check that, 42-yard line.
And he was met immediately by Wayne Lucia, 6'4", 245 pounds. They're big up front, as we mentioned earlier in the game. If you're just joining us, this St. John's team will go with Zach Magliaro up front, who's 6'3", 260 pounds. They also have Wayne Lucia, who's 6'4", 245 pounds, and Wayne Campbell, who is 6'4", 250 pounds.
Second down and 8 for the Whalers. 7.5 minutes to go here in the first half. I formation. Seed looks to pass. He rolls to his right. He throws, and he's got Jose George, but George drops the ball incomplete.
Good coverage that time, again, by St. John's Prep, number 32, Kevin Connor, 5'11", 147-pound sophomore in there to make the hit as the pass was arriving.
So the Whalers are faced with another third down and long. First 2 times they've had the ball, Bernie, they faced third down and long. One of them got them to within 4th and 1 on their first drive, and then again last time they were forced to punt.
Well, on the last time that was 3rd and 1, it was Seed hitting Dunstan out of the backfield for 15 yards and a first down. So let's see what the play is here.
Seed again in the shotgun on 3rd and 8. Goes back to pass. He's got time, and Balistracci cannot come up with it, as again there was a pass play where it was behind Balistracci, and Balistracci is down and he is injured.
Well, he's down in the field and he's moving in a lot of pain as the trainer's gone out to take a look and see exactly what happened there. Balistracci went up in the air that time as the Seed's pass was high into the backside of the receiver's hands. He had to reach back to get it, is what I'm trying to say, and it was a little high too. And at the same time, while he was strung out in the air trying to make the play, he got nailed by the defensive player for St. John's Prep, who just nailed him to the turf, and he is not getting up too quickly.
Looked like he was hit and fell awkwardly with his leg getting caught in the turf a little bit, and let's hope that's not a severe injury for one of the many bright spots for the Whalers this year, Dante Balistracci, and he's still in a lot of pain down there.
Let me tell you, if there's any way that you can get up from that situation and continue to play, and we're going to watch it here on the instant replay as you see Seed with the football back to pass. Dunstan's open in the flat, doesn't see him, elects to throw it a little deeper to Balistracci, turns him around, and he gets hit, goes down.
The player landed on his leg.
Right on his leg, it looked like. He just rolled right on it, and you can see Balistracci down on the field right around the 30-yard line as the New Bedford trainer and the people from New Bedford all around him.
7:11 left to go here in the first half of play. High school sports provide an extension of the classroom where students learn to pursue excellence, the value of working with others toward a common goal, playing within the structure of established rules, discipline, loyalty, and emotional control.
I wonder if Latrice Sprewell ever heard these words
Especially
before.
the last one,
emotional control.
Yeah, I guess not. The MIAA urges you to demonstrate your support for these values and for our young people by attending high school competitions in your community. Dante Balistracci still down.
There, you know, there's the, it looks like they're trying to get him up to his feet now, and they are taking an awful long time to work on this situation, and that does not make me feel any better about what's going on with Dante down there. Usually if it's something that's getting the wind knocked out of you, you're up in a hurry, but he's being lifted to his feet. Looks like he's got a problem with his left leg.
And he's being helped off the field, and that left leg is being dangled there, and he's actually almost being carried off, and that is not a good sign for the New Bedford High Whalers, already down 13-0.
Now, he's one of their better athletes. We know all about his athletic ability playing on the basketball team and also on the football team. And he's a threat for them in terms of so many ways. Going on the defensive end, he makes a lot of tackles. I believe he leads the team in tackles, as a matter of fact, individual tackles. On the offensive end, he's a deep threat for them as a receiver. This is a big blow to Wayne Hamlet and his team as they try to get him off the field. We don't know whether it's an ankle or a knee, but we do know it has something to do with the left leg.
So he comes off, and it's 4th down for the Whalers, and they're going to have to punt here, obviously, 4th and long. Lent is back deep. Beckman is in to do the kicking. Good snap. Nice kick. Off to the side of his foot, and it takes the St. John's prep bounce. And the ball is going to be stopped at about the 20-yard line.
Well, not a good sight if you're a New Bedford High School fan to see Dante Balistracci being carried off the field early here in the second quarter. And I know from talking with Wayne Hamlet yesterday and looking at some of the plays on the blackboard that so many things revolve around him within those plays. Even some of the little wrinkles that the coach had put in involve Dante and his athletic ability.
Not only offensively, but they're going to miss him on defense as well. 1st and 10 for St. John's Prep. Ball at their own 20-yard line. 7:01 left in the first half with the Prep leading 13-0. Again, the 3 wideouts to the far side. Lentz is the lone setback. Lentz gets the call, and he's hit by Josh Gomes for a 1-yard loss.
Well, Josh Gomes that time was looking like he was shot out of a cannon. He was in there to make the hit as soon as Lentz got the football.
So it's going to be loss of a yard. 2nd down and 11 coming up. St. John's Prep 1 and 2, as we said, coming into in Super Bowl play. They were winners back in 1982 in the Division 2A Super Bowl, beating Whitman-Hanson, then lost to Brockton and Peabody in 91 and 93. 2nd down and 11. Again, the 3 wideouts to the far side. Lentz the lone setback. Clock is running. Pitch goes to Lentz. To the far side, turns the corner, gets some block, and gets up to the 23-yard line.
Well, good pursuit that time by the Whaler defense as they're starting to pick up a little bit on the seams, if you will, the little space between the big blockers, trying to shoot those seams and get in there to make the tackle and avoid being hit by some of these big guys. Nice angular pursuit by the entire defensive line that time.
3rd down and 6 coming up for the St. John's Prep Eagles. They scored on their first 2 possessions of the ball game, while the Whalers have yet to score, and they lead 13-0. Single setback is Lentz. 2 wideouts now to the far side. It is Walsh, and I believe it's Leahy out there. Pitch goes back to Lentz. He comes to the near side, weak side, cuts it back over the 30. He's got a 1st down to the 31-yard line.
Once again, following the big blocking of number 55. And that would be Jeff Ryan, 6'2", 225 pounds. And number 73, and that's Wayne Campbell, 6'4", 250 pounds. But Dunstan, getting in between the 2 guys, was able to make the tackle.
5:13 left to go here in the first half. St. John's Prep, another 1st down. And the ball is at their own 31-yard line.
That is their 6th first down of the first half, and a timeout being called here by St. Pierre as he didn't like something that he saw, and he wants to go over and talk it over with the coach.
4 minutes and 56 seconds left to go here in the first half. When is the best time to talk to your child about athletics and the use of mood-altering chemicals? Try talking together when there's no pressing problem. Let your child know what your expectations are and where the boundaries are in your family. And above all, keep talking together. This message brought to you by the MIAA.
Well, we are in the second quarter, 4:53 left to play in the half, and St. John's Prep leading by a score of 13-0. The Whalers suffering a bit of a blow when this game began because they lost their starting left guard, Matt Santos, who blew out his knee on Thanksgiving Day versus Durfee. He has a ruptured kneecap, medial collateral ligament damage, and he's replaced in the lineup by sophomore Ryan DeBross. And add to that now that along with losing their left guard, Dante Bellistracci, one of their top athletes, has been carried off the field. We're not sure yet what it is that Dante injured, whether it's an ankle or a knee, but he was unable to walk off on his own.
1st and 10 for the Eagles. Ball at their own 31-yard line. Lentz gets the call to the far side. He's got some blockers, but the Whalers do a good job of pursuit, and it's going to be no gain as Clinton Dunstan dragged him down from behind.
Well, a good job that time by the Whalers on defense. They really have tightened up the defense in the last couple of series, Keith, and I shudder to say that because I don't want to jinx them, but they did a good job of 3 downs and out in the last series after St. John's had scored on 2 consecutive possessions, and that was the 4th play run by St. John's on this series of downs.
No gain on the play. 2nd down and 10 for the Eagles. As it's a sunny, cool Saturday. Super Bowl Saturday here at BU. St. Pierre gets away, throws it deep. He's got a man open, and it is in and out of the hands of Watson, incomplete.
Well, on the other side of the field, the coaching staff of St. John's is going crazy. They're looking for a pass interference call as Angel Arroyo was there and made the hit just as the ball was touching the fingertips of Leary, I believe it was.
And that may have been timing perfectly there on the part of Angel Arroyo.
Well, they didn't call it, so I guess you could say he had perfect timing.
I guess he did. 3rd down coming up and 10. Still enough time for the Whalers to get the ball back here and score a touchdown to make this game a little closer before halftime. Now they're going to shift, and the 3 wideouts are to the far side. Macker, the tight end, is to the left. Handoff goes to Lentz right up the middle. He gets over the 35 to the 37-yard line. Going to be short of a 1st down.
Lentz pounding it to the inside that time. He's been carrying the ball in just about every play except for that one pass attempt that was just incomplete. They've run off 6 plays. He's carried the ball 5 times. Most of those have been sweeps. That time he took it to the inside.
So 4th down and 5 coming up, and the Whalers hold St. John's Prep again. And Angel Arroyo will be back deep as St. Pierre will come out with the punt. Arroyo, the lone setback at the 24-yard line. St. Pierre high kick, and it's a good kick. And it takes a bounce, and the Whalers will get the ball at their own 34-yard line. 1st and 10 with 3:44 left here in the 1st half, and plenty of time for the Whalers to get something done here.
Well, after allowing St. John's just to march downfield on 2 consecutive series of downs and to put 13 points up on the scoreboard, the defense has made an adjustment, and the last 2 series of downs have been 11 plays by St. John's, but nowhere near the same success they had in those first 2 series.
Jose George is split out to the near side. Victor Cruz now in the game. He's at the far side. Check that, it's John Silva. And Yusef White bounces off a couple of tacklers and gets some good second chance yardage over the 40 to the 43-yard line.
A good job that time by Yusef of spinning once he felt the defensive pressure and breaking away for an additional 3 or 4 yards.
So John Silva's in the game, replacing Dante Bellistracci. If you're just joining us, Bellistracci on the last New Bedford possession was hit, and then one of the St. John's defenders landed awkwardly on Bellistracci's leg, and Bellistracci's out of the game. Walsh comes in motion, 2nd down and 1. Dunstan gets the call and has a 1st down to the 47-yard line.
All right, Dunstan 2 yards on the inside that time, picking up another 1st down for the Whalers as they are starting to move the football. That's their 4th 1st down of the 1st half.
Ball is at the 47-yard line. Whalers down 13-0 here in this Division 1A Super Bowl from Nickerson Field, Boston University. This is actually going to be one of the final football games ever played on this field. They'll get some games tomorrow here. Seed rolling to his right, Throwing, and Jose George makes a great catch, and he's out of bounds in St. John's territory at the 40-yard line.
George doing a great job hanging on to the football that time, as he had hanging on to him Kevin Corner. Corner that time hit him just at the moment in which he was catching the football, and George did a good job of just hanging on to the ball.
Would it be okay with you at halftime
Absolutely.
we get rid of his banner?
Absolutely. I knew where you were going with that. Absolutely.
No problems with you?
None whatsoever.
1st and 10 for the Whalers. The ball at the St. John's Prep 39-yard line. Seed on the draw. Youssef White gets a good 4 yards to the 35-yard line.
Nice job on the interior line of New Bedford, the offensive line of Matt DeOliveira opening up a hole that time, and White went right off his left cheek, if you will, to pick up those 3 yards.
Both teams have 4 timeouts left here in the first half. Pick up of 4 as the clock is running. 2:09 left here in the second quarter.
Good penetration by the Whalers on this particular series of plays as they are down close to the 30-yard line. Deepest penetration they've had in the game.
White is now in the slot to the left. Lone setback is Clinton Dunston. Seed goes back to pass, dumps it off to Dunston. Dunston gets nothing as he's knocked out of bounds by Lentz, and it's going to be no gain.
Well, Dunston out of the backfield was open initially with nobody on him, but Seed looking downfield couldn't find a primary receiver open, looked to dump it off to his fullback in the right flat, and by that time, the linebacker had come up to make the play.
So it's going to be 3rd and 6 for the Whalers. 1:45 left to go here in the first half of play. And what's been a quick first half.
There really haven't been any timeouts. So the longest delay we had was when Balistracci was down with the injury.
Seed rolls to his left, looks to right, he throws, and it is just short, incomplete. Pass intended for John Silva.
Well,
Check that, Youssef White.
Youssef White that time coming out of the backfield as the short man, and Jose George was the deep man on that play. And Silva was able to check that. White was able to get open for a split second, but the ball was a little bit short, and he could not make the play coming back. And while we were trying to describe this play, we suddenly were attacked by one of our technicians.
I was looking to take our banner away, but we'll wait. We only have 1:47. We've
Sure.
dealt with it for about a quarter and a half here. It's almost 2 quarters. 1:40 left. There's a timeout on the field called by the Whalers as they're going to talk about whether to go for this 4th down. A well-rounded education is one that's not only academically oriented, one that also includes physical, social, and emotional development. The interscholastic athletics provide the other half of education. The MIAA encourages you to support your local high school athletic teams throughout the year.
All right, we've got just about 1:40 left to play here in the first half. Whalers down 13-0, and they're faced again, Keith, with a 4th and 1 play. I mean, the last time they were in this particular situation, a 4th down play, they were down around the 33, 34-yard line, and we had a fumble on the exchange between the center and the quarterback for New Bedford High School. Now they find themselves in a 4th down play again, and you got to go for it.
Well, no doubt about it here with 1:40 to go. Even if you don't get it, St. John's Prep gets the ball at their own 35-yard line.
Youssef White is the guy you would normally look at in this case, but I still think that Clinton Dunston might be the key to New Bedford's offense opening up.
Seed, play action. He's got time up the middle, and he has the ball tipped away incomplete. Double coverage on Jose George, and St. John's Prep holds again.
Yeah, Seed stepped up nicely in the pocket that time after the play action fake and tried to hit Jose George coming across the middle, which would have been not only for the 1st down, but hoping that he might be able to break something, but 3 defenders right around him knocking the ball away.
So St. John's Prep, also known to score quickly, has 1.5 minutes left to try to put more points on the board. Leahy is split out to the near side, Watson to the far side. On 1st and 10. Lentz, play action, St. Pierre. Oh, what a catch by Jeff Macker. After being nailed by John Silva, Macker holds on to the ball and gets a 1st down.
Well, that time Macker coming across the middle. He's their big tight end and also does a lot of the kicking on this team. And Macker came across the middle, 6 foot, 206 pounds, And basically, you said nice play by Silva. He's 155 pounds. He gave away 50 pounds in the exchange and bounced off him like a mosquito.
St. Pierre, quick pass. It's complete to Watson. Still on his feet, goes out of bounds inside the 40 to the 39. So Bob Watson with the catch there to the New Bedford 39-yard line. Clock stops with 1:10 left.
Well, Bob Watson doing a much better job catching footballs than he ever did playing first base.
Well, he hasn't done too bad of a job as a general manager. Leading the Yankees last year to a World Championship. And we've just totally thrown everyone off who's been watching this. Hope you realize that.
Who's Bob Watson?
1st and 10 for St. John's Prep. St. Pierre goes back to pass, looks deep. Lentz is open, but he's overthrown.
Lentz coming out of the backfield that time, coming out in the right flat and just beating the New Bedford defender. And I believe that was number 49 for New Bedford, which would be Jose Silva down the right sideline. If the pass isn't overthrown, it's another 6 points for the St. John Prep team.
So clock is stopped with 1:03 to go here in the first half. We're just joining us, St. John's Prep able to score the first 2 times they had the ball. Both Brian Lentz 1-yard runs. The Whalers were able to get into St. John's Prep territory in a couple of occasions, but not able to finish off any drives, and they trail 13-0. Single back is Lentz. St. Pierre back to pass, got plenty of time. Rolls now to his right. Now here comes the pressure and is forced to go out of bounds for a loss.
Good job that time of the New Bedford secondary in covering the wide receivers, especially Brian Leary. He was the primary receiver in that particular pattern, and a good job of covering him by John Silva.
So loss of 3 on the play, ball to the 42-yard line. 57 seconds left here in the first half. And the Whalers looking to stop St. John's Prep again here with, again, 57 seconds left. St. Pierre goes back to pass. Here comes the rush across the middle, incomplete. Pass intended again for Bob Watson.
Well, another incomplete pass as Bob Watson came across the middle to run about a 5-yard square-in pattern and again ran right into the defensive coverage of the New Bedford High School Whalers. 2 Whalers there plus the safety coming up, converging on the pass receiver.
So it's 4th down coming up, and St. John's Prep calls timeout with 51 seconds left. Something interesting, Bernie, we see Dante Balistracci. His day is done. He's on crutches, and it looks like his left knee is wrapped up. So his season of high school football is over this year after a great season.
And yeah, great season for Dante, and you know, you can't let this go by without mentioning that not only is his football season over, but you have to hope that it's not serious enough to curtail his basketball season. The Whalers, as everyone knows, back in the New Bedford area, getting ready for what will be a very exciting basketball season, which of course will be highlighted by that trip up to Alaska for the Great Alaska Shootout. That'll be coming up, I believe it's either the Christmas week or the week after Christmas. So you don't want to be in a position where you're playing those games without Dante Balistracci, such a big key to all the athletics here at New Bedford High School.
Yep. And again, we'll be covering a lot of the New Bedford High Whaler games this season. You can see Dante, his left knee is wrapped up with black tape, and looks like some ice in there as well.
I can only imagine what is going on not only in the mind of Dante Balistracci right now, but in the mind of head coach Eddie Rodricks, who's probably watching all of this.
He's probably here saying, one more game, let's get by, and unfortunately, one of his stars injured. All right, 4th down, and St. John's Prep will go for it. 3 wideouts to the far side. St. Pierre back to pass. He's got time. Boy, he throws it deep in the direction of Lentz, and it is incomplete, but there's a flag on the play. 2 flags on the play, and it's going to be interference on the New Bedford Whalers.
Yeah, pass interference is going to be called that time against New Bedford defender Jose George. He got back there, but unlike the last pass play where contact was made right at the point where the ball was touching the receiver's hands, if you really want to kind of put a slant on it, this time the contact was made before the ball was even close.
So again, penalties impacting the Whalers here, as the ball is going to be marked off 15 yards to the New Bedford 27-yard line. good thing about between this college and high school and the pros is it's not at the spot of the foul, which would have been inside the 10. So 1st and 10 from the 27-yard line for St. John's Prep. They still have 42 seconds left here in the first half, and if they're able to put some more points on the board here, Bernie, that'll be a devastating blow to the Whalers. St. Pierre's got some running right up the middle. He's going to keep it, and wisely slides down inside the 20 to the 19-yard line.
Clock ticking away. We're down to 32 seconds as a timeout is called, and you can see what's going on in the mind of the St. John's coaching staff. They'd like to get another score on the scoreboard. 13-0 is good, but somewhere around 20-21 really makes the other team think at halftime.
Pickup of 8 on the play. It's 2nd down and 2 coming up. St. John's Prep has only 1 timeout remaining, while the Whalers have 4 timeouts left here in the first half.
We talked about penalties earlier in the game and what a big factor they can be. New Bedford have been penalized 4 times in the first half before that pass interference play, and that's the biggest penalty of the game.
Well, it also seems that all their penalties seem to come at bad times. They had I believe a 3rd and 1, and they were hit with a procedure penalty to go back 5 yards, and there was a holding penalty. And again, New Bedford needed to play a near perfect game to beat the top-ranked team in the state, and it's not happening.
We haven't talked about it very much, but this St. John's team coming in, for all you people that may be viewing this and just joining us, 10-0 on the season. They have not lost a game this year.
2nd and 2 for the Prep. St. Pierre gets by 1 rush, throws, and it is caught. A fantastic catch. Ryan Leahy out of bounds at the 11-yard line.
And what great presence for the young quarterback, Brian St. Pierre. He stood in the pocket, saw the defensive pressure coming in his direction, stepped up in the pocket and avoided a would-be tackler to just nail that pass right on the numbers.
1st and 10 for the Eagles. The ball is just outside the 11-yard line. They lead by a score of 13-0, looking for more points here at halftime, and it just has been a very, very effective 2-minute offense.
It certainly has, and they started on their own 34-yard line.
1st and 10. St. Pierre back to pass, throws across the middle, in and out of the hands of Leahy, incomplete as he was hit hard by Jose George.
Not being gun-shy, George hitting him as soon as the ball touched his hands that time. No pass interference, no flag, just a nice clean play and a good defensive play by Jose George.
So it's going to be 2nd down and 10, and we still have 21 seconds left in this first half. And I opened my mouth earlier about how quick this half went by, and all of a sudden these last 2 minutes have taken quite a bit of time.
Well, throwing the football will do that at times, especially when the passes are incomplete.
Leahy split out to the near side left, Watson to the far side right. Lentz is the tailback. He gets the call right up the middle, 5-yard line. And it's going to be 3rd down and about 4 from there, and St. John's Prep calls its final timeout with 15 seconds left.
Well, they had a timeout to work with that time. They've been throwing the football in hopes of trying to move that offense down the field very quickly, as you said, not take up a lot of time. Lentz that time with his first carry in 11 plays.
160,000 students will take part this year in more than 80,000 high school sport competitions among the MIAA's 350 member schools. The Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association encourages you to support your local high school athletic programs and the students who take part in them. 15 seconds left here in the first half, and St. John's Prep knocking on the door.
Well, if there was ever a crucial defensive stop, this is it right here, because again, you do not want to go into halftime down by 3 scores. 2 scores is bad enough, but you're still in the ball game. 3 scores, and you're back to where you were the first time you played this team, where you were down 22-0 before you finally put something up on the scoreboard.
Looks like on the Whalers team this game, the seniors have their last names on the back of their jerseys. Looks like it's just the seniors, as some of the other players do not have their names stitched down the back. 3rd and 4, St. Pierre. Nice flow pass to Lentz, touchdown.
What great touch that time by Brian St. Pierre. Lentz coming out of the backfield and getting into the end zone to make the reception. A flag is thrown in the end zone, probably for celebrating. Lentz a little exuberant with his celebration, but what a nice touch pass that time by Brian St. Pierre. You can see why everybody likes this kid.
Yeah, and the flags will probably be for taunting or excessive celebration in the end zone because the flags fell late after the pass was already completed. Yeah, dead ball foul, unsportsmanlike conduct against St. John's Prep. So the points are good. So the conversion will be done, however, from about the 18-yard line or so. Actually, they're going to move the ball back from, yeah, about the 18-yard line is where the conversion coming up.
All right, well, Lentz that time coming out of the backfield into the left flat and into the end zone, and just a beautiful touch pass thrown by Brian St. Pierre. They're going to go for the 2-point conversion.
Well, from this far out, maybe try the same type of pass play here. A little floater. Back to pass looking for Lentz. He catches it incomplete out of bounds, and they fail to convert. We have 10 seconds left here in the first half of play, and the Whalers are being, quite honestly, totally outclassed so far as they trail 19-0.
Well, that drive started on the 34-yard line of St. John's Prep, and they had about 2:05 left to play here in the first half when they took the football over. They have run off 11 plays and have marched downfield 66 yards, and a pass from St. Pierre to Lentz in the end zone, the halfback coming out of the backfield, nice little floater into his hands for the touchdown, making it 19-0 in favor of St. John's Prep. 2-point conversion after the penalty for taunting or excess celebration.
Leading the Whalers by a score of 19-0, and looking at the first half stats, Bernie, it looks like even on the stat sheet, the Eagles outplay the Whalers.
Well, they have a 19-0 lead. In first downs, it's 10-6 in favor of St. John's. On the ground rushing, the Whalers have carried the ball 12 times for 54 yards, 52 of those coming from Yusef White with 8 attempts, the longest carry being for 33 yards. On the other side, St. John's has carried the ball 23 times for 121 yards. Brian Lentz has been the workhorse, 19 carries for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. Passing yardage, well, New Bedford has picked up 62 yards passing on 5 of 12 through the air. On the other side, Brian St. Pierre for St. John's, 6 of 13 for 91 yards. Total offense, a big edge here by the St. John's Prep team, 212 yards to 116 yards. You take a look at the other things like penalties. Well, New Bedford's been penalized 4 times for 37 yards.
Kickoff is short. Angel Arroyo takes it at the 16. He cuts to the near side, still on his feet, then slips and falls over the 25 to the 27-yard line, where the Whalers will take over. 1st and 10, down 19-0.
One of the other things I wanted to mention about the stats here in the first half is that on kick returns, kickoff returns, the yardage is pretty much equal. New Bedford averaging 18 yards per kick return, and that kick return there was probably about a good 11 or 12-yard gain. And St. John's also doing the same thing. You look down at the stat sheet, one of the things that stands out when you look at it down here is the fact that Dante Balistracci, New Bedford's big receiver, averaging about 20 yards per catch, is out of the game now with an injury.
Clinton Dunson with the pitch. He gets a yard or two to the 28, 29-yard line. And that may be the biggest turning point for the Whalers, as their sophomore wide receiver, Dante Balistracci, injured on an incomplete pass play when the St. John's Prep player fell on his left knee and forced him out of the ball game, and he will not return.